Are you trading them both or are you holding them? That is the big question a lot of us are going to have to go through this a week. With Jason Horne-Francis out with a projected or suspected 4-week hamstring. Well, it's not suspected, but the timeline is suspected to be 4 weeks. You've got also the likes of Jack McRae out for a 2 to 3 weeks because of a punctured lung. Didn't actually watch that game and that specific incident, but that's apparently was a hospital handball. I forgot who from, but yeah, it doesn't help our teams. So the big question for a lot of us is, how are you going to skirt around that? Are you too high up the rankings to just rely on them hopefully getting back before their prognosis or their projected timelines or suspected? Or are you so low down that you probably just want to risk it and see if you can get ahead 1 or 2 premiums there with everything said and done? But anyway, before we jump into this video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's jump into my team reveal for round 11 with captaincies and vice captaincies. So if you look here, let's just pop the trades up for you guys. And you see here, Bolton and Simpson in, getting that Freo flavor in. I know that there's quite a lot of people on that are Freo fans, at least on the SuperCoach space. So, yep, jumping on them, finally getting out of Riley Bice. And Henry Huswaite had to go just because I needed to break up that midfield sort of logjam I've got on the bench, you would say. Because, yeah, I just had 3 unplayable guys, basically. So I needed to get rid of them to basically allow me to have either Henderson, who's not playing, Horne-Francis and McRae also there. I'm hoping that Gross basically plays in this scenario. I think, yeah, I kind of need Gross to play, or yeah, I kind of need Gross to play, which kind of is funny now thinking about it, but hopefully we get him to play, or at least be sub, because he probably deserves it. With everything said and done, he's one of the better players, first year players for West Coast at the moment. He's one of their better mids, I feel like. I know he takes the game on a little bit more, so I just feel like he deserves at least a game, and hopefully he can get it, because then we can get some cash gen out of him, or at least some type of 23rd score that I can use off of. I've got my loop in place for Henderson there as well, for him to play or to be on field, so that I can loop on Cleary's score, because they play so later in the week that it means that I can get the captaincy score, potential VC score from Merit, and then also you have Cherry there. So why exactly am I holding Horne-Francis and McRae? You're probably wondering. Well, it's because of this. 18,669. So that means that I'm basically just on teetering in the top 10%. I pretty much not given away the season, but to a certain extent, I know that I'm not going to rank that well. I've had quite a lot of just stuff up there. Unlucky in a certain way, but also just bad selecting to start, like the Brayshaw versus Sarong debate, and also, in essence, the Jason Horne-Francis versus Rankin debate. I probably would have traded in Horne-Francis, which would have almost made it worse, but I still would have been something like 100 to 150 points better off if I had just started ranking compared to trading him in. When I had Horne-Francis in there instead. So there's that. And yeah, I've just missed a lot of I got wrong with my sort of M5, or sorry, my starting M3 to M6 were pretty much wrong. I traded out Callahan at the wrong time, even though he probably would have been traded out this week anyway. I also missed out on Murphy Reed, and I think, did I have Max Hall? I might have had Max Hall, but I traded him out too early as well. He would have had another 100k to run. So yeah, I probably was just a little bit too aggressive as well. So definitely a lot of learning points. But what am I looking for in the next couple of weeks? Now, if we set up, because the buys are coming next week, you'll see round 12, I'm actually pretty light on. In terms of players, it will mean that I probably have 22 guys or 21 guys playing in round 12. Not the worst. I've got three guys that the 3 worst scores can be taken out, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rookies playing. So I got 6 rookies effectively, if you count Reed, playing in round 12, which isn't the best, isn't the worst. In round 13, I'm hopeful there's a potential that Horne-Francis comes back in round 13. I'm not exactly sure he will, because that would be 2 weeks, I think, potentially. So I think he's probably a week late. I think he returns round 14, to be honest with you. So there's that. But you'll have basically Carroll come in for Sinclair. You'll have effectively just Cleary. Cleary basically is on field anyway. So you'd have 22, 21, 20, 19. Carroll comes on. So that's 22, 21, 20. So I'd have 20 guys most likely. Horne-Francis would make it 21. But I'd also potentially have some mid-season draftees or other guys would be going at that point. But none of these guys would really be out of the side, I don't think. So I'd still be stuck with that many players. But I'm just hoping at that point that potentially I don't even know, someone like a Henderson or a Stone can be upgraded and actually playable. And then that would mean that I can get guys on, etc. in their place. Then we go to round 14. And round 14, I have 1, 2, 3. And we know that Horne-Francis is probably going to be back by then. McRae should be back by then as well. So I project both of these two to be back by round 14, which means that I actually end up with one move. Can I move anyone at this point? I can't move anyone into that back line, but I can play Carroll over Roberts. I'm going to have a full assortment in round 14, so I should probably be targeting round 14 anyway over a Bolton, but Bolton was just the only guy that I could basically afford. So next week, I really need to target the round 14 buy. I don't know if this says it who's off in that buy. Doesn't say it. I need to probably double check that or grab up something that says who's off in that round 14 buy. Let me actually just check who was off AFL.com, because if we just check the ladder and then go to round 14, you've got Sydney, Gold Coast, Collingwood and Richmond out. I don't really like any of the Richmond options. Collingwood is basically Dacos and Darcy Cameron. That's it. Sydney, it's almost going to be... Well, the good thing about Sydney is in that round 14, but then again, Mills could be potentially an option as a mid-pricer, just swapping to him if he is, because you could potentially get like even a Xavier Lindsay straight to the likes of a Mills. So you got to look at that potentially, because Lindsay's got that round 15 buy. But yeah, there's not many guys in round 14 that I'm actually liking. It's a really hard buy round to actually get players on. Round 15, you've got Petrarca, Rankin. Hewitt will probably be gone by then, probably to potentially a rookie or something like that. You'll have Henderson there, but you'll have McRae and Horne-Francis, and Cleary will probably be around 12 guy anyway by that point. But you'll have those two on, so I have 2 off, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys off. But I'll have another. I can move Sheasel, I think, into the midfield or something at that point. So I'll have enough guys to basically get up to 22 or so. And then round 16, if we look at that, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 5, 4, 3, 3 guys or something. So I have 20 or so, I think. So I'm pretty much on sort of in between that 20 to 22 on each round, I think, which isn't the worst case scenario. Next week with 20k spare, what am I going to look at doing? It's probably going to be involving you would think probably a Lindsay or a Hewitt, Hewitt, and maybe a Cleary up, I think, potentially something of that regard. Or potentially like a Lindsay, Hewitt, and a Hawley up or something like that. Or potentially even a Hewitt, Lindsay, and Stone up, I think, is almost the best option. If we just look at the mathematics behind it, 289.6 plus 291.6 plus 199 flat gives me 780k. You take away a 119 and then another 119, and it gives me 542k to do some damage. You've got Lindsay at a 34 break even and a Elijah Hewitt at 83. They probably almost offset each other. Maybe they gain another 10k or so, which would be good. And that would get me up to 550k, and I can do some damage somewhere there with something at 550k, I think. So that's sort of what I'm looking at next week, and just hoping that we get some rookies, because if we look at the break evens for next week, it's not looking too kind for players on one game. Will Lorenz, I don't think, gets picked. Harry Boyd's not going to get picked anytime soon. Lewis Hayes is out for the year. Other guys on, potentially we get like a James Leake back, which could help. You potentially get a Delina back, but I don't think so. And then we're already at guys basically out for the year or into the positives for break evens anyway. You got Campbell Gray. I don't think he's coming back anytime soon. You got, just not many other guys, but hopefully someone pops because it's looking a little bleak for rookies. We may have to even go a little bit early on someone. Hopefully maybe even a Boxall or something like that pops as well. Or potentially you can grab a Boxall next week anyway if he does score well, because if we look at him scoring sort of a 50 or so, he'll still have a negative 22 break even next week, which is still grabbable, I think, anyway. But yeah, he might just, it's just really hard to grab, I think, anyone in reality because there's just not many guys, I would say. Day Wicks as well could still be grabbable next week if he scores another 40, I would think. If he scores a 40 next week, he would have a 2 break even and be 120k. You could then just grab him alongside someone else and you'd still have enough cash, I feel like. So yeah, definitely a watch on the rookies next week because we definitely need some refresh there in terms of rookies. And I don't know if there will be too many that actually get consistent games because this sub rule is stuffing everything up. But anyway, that is just a short video going through my trades and my VC and captaincy for the week for SuperCoach, and hopefully I get better results this week, but I'm not looking too bright. I feel like just because my team is in a little bit of a hole in terms of trades left, as well as just players, I missed out on too many mid prices that have popped off. But anyway, that is the video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for my picks and tips on Friday. Bye guys.